Elena was sitting at the kitchen table, thoughtlessly stirring a mug of long cold tea. A fine autumn rain was falling outside, as if nature itself sympathized with her mood. The phone had been silent for the fourth day, although Alexei usually called regularly, even when he was away from work in other cities. The story began a month ago, at the Rendezvous Cafe, where she was meeting with her friends. Irina, Svetlana, and Katya were already sitting at their usual table in the corner of the hall, discussing something vividly. Elena was delayed by traffic for 40 minutes and found them having a serious conversation. "Finally, our Lenochka," Irina exclaimed, but there was tension in her tone. "We were just talking about you." "About me?" Elena was surprised, sinking into a chair. What happened? The two friends exchanged meaningful glances. Svetlana nervously crumpled a paper napkin, and Katya looked away. "Lena?" Irina began in a low voice. "It's very hard for us to talk about this, but we can't hide it. We're close people, right?" Elena's heart sank. She knew that tone perfectly well. That was how bad news was usually reported. "Speak openly," she said, trying to look calm. "The day before yesterday, Svetlana ran into Alyosha at the Europa shopping complex," Katya said quickly. "He was in the company." "With a girl," Svetlana clarified, blushing to the roots of her hair. "Very young, very attractive. They walked with their arms around each other. Elena felt everything begin to swim around her. Alyosha? Her Alyosha, who hugged her every morning and whispered that she was the one and only? "Maybe you got it mixed up?" "What is it?" she suggested faintly. "I was only a few steps away from them," Svetlana said decisively. "It was definitely Alexei. He was even wearing that jacket you bought him for last New Year's Eve." Irina touched Elena's hand sympathetically. "We've been arguing for a long time about whether we should tell you about this, but you're our close friend, and you need to know the truth." "Perhaps we should have a frank conversation with him," Katya suggested. "What should we talk about?" Irina replied bitterly. "Men always deny everything. She'll think it's a colleague, a distant relative, or something similar." Elena was silent, trying to comprehend what she had heard. 8 years of marriage. 8 years, which seemed perfect to her. Had he been betraying her all this time? The poison of doubt. In the days that followed, her friends seemed to haunt her. It seemed they had agreed to constantly remind each other of what had happened. Irina sent links to articles about signs of infidelity in marriage. Svetlana told stories from the lives of her friends whose spouses had cheated, and Katya regularly asked if Elena had noticed any oddities in her husband's behavior. "Think logically," Irina urged. "Now he is constantly on the move. I used to drive a maximum of twice a month, but now I drive almost every week. Is it natural? And now he never lets go of his mobile phone." Svetlana added, "Do you remember how he used to calmly leave it anywhere? But now he carries it everywhere with him?" "He also became much more careful about his appearance," Katya remarked. "New suits, expensive cologne. I wonder who all this is for." Each of their remarks hurt Elena's soul. She really started noticing little things that she hadn't noticed before. Alyosha really began to go on business trips more often, and he really updated his wardrobe. I really started paying more attention to my phone. But the most disturbing thing is that he has become even more attentive and caring at home. He brought bouquets just like that, helped with household chores, offered to go to the theatre or to an exhibition. My friends interpreted this in their own way. "It's a typical picture," Irina said authoritatively. A sense of guilt makes them compensate for infidelity by paying increased attention to their wife. Elena was torn by conflicting feelings. One minute it seemed to her that her friends were absolutely right. The next she convinced herself that it was all just a coincidence. But the seed of suspicion had already sprouted and was growing stronger every day. A fateful decision. The critical moment came 3 weeks later. Alyosha was going on another trip to St. Petersburg, and Elena decided to take the last resort. While he was in the bathroom, she checked his phone. Her heart was pounding so deafeningly that she was afraid he would hear it. She found nothing incriminating on the phone, no love letters, no saved contacts with women's names, but this did not convince her. Her friends warned that experienced traitors skillfully hide their tracks. That evening, after Alyosha left, Elena went to the bar. Not to any special institution, just to the one closest to home. She didn't make any plans, she just wanted a drink and a break from her painful thoughts. A man about her age was sitting at the next table, also clearly not in the best of moods. Rough day? What is it? He asked, noticing her sullen mood. It's a hard life, Elena replied, and was surprised at her own directness. His name was Mikhail. He recently broke up with his wife and was also going through difficult times. They talked until closing time, and for the first time in recent weeks, Elena felt that someone was genuinely listening and understanding her. He doesn't judge. He doesn't teach. He just listens attentively. When he offered to walk her home, she didn't object. When he invited her to come in for a cup of coffee, she agreed again. And when he kissed her on the threshold of his apartment, she didn't push him away. Elena spent the whole night with Mikhail. In the morning, looking at a strange man sleeping next to her, she experienced mixed feelings. At the same time, satisfaction from revenge and horror from what she had done. She quietly packed up and left, leaving a thank you note. They never met again. The terrible truth, Alexei returned from a business trip on Sunday evening, as always, with souvenirs and a radiant smile. He shared his impressions of work, meetings, and how he missed her. Elena sat and nodded, feeling like a complete stranger in her home. You're kind of distant, Alyosha said. Is something wrong? It's okay, she lied. The following days turned into a real nightmare. Elena couldn't look her husband in the eye, couldn't communicate with him naturally. His every touch burned her with the fire of shame. Guilt and anger gnawed at her soul, giving her no peace day or night. Alexei tried to understand what was going on, but she was dissuaded by fatigue and problems at work. He offered to take a vacation, go somewhere to relax, but she rejected all offers. And then something happened that completely destroyed her worldview. On Friday evening, the doorbell rang. An unfamiliar young girl stood on the threshold, just like the one Svetlana had described. Beautiful, stylishly dressed, with an elegant handbag. Excuse me, she said. I'm looking for Alexei Viktorovich Morozov. I was given this address. Elena's heart skipped a beat. That's all. The mistress came straight to their house. What audacity? Why would you? What is it? She asked icily. You see, the girl was embarrassed. I'm his niece, Anna. I came from Yekaterinburg on academic business, and Uncle Lyosha promised to meet me at the train station but did not show up. The phone is silent. I'm already worried. Elena felt the world turning around her. A niece? What is it? She asked. Yes, the daughter of his brother Vladimir. We hadn't seen each other for about 6 years when I was still a schoolgirl. Uncle Lyosha probably wouldn't have recognized me if we hadn't agreed in advance. And who are you? Excuse me? I'm his wife, Elena whispered. Aunt Lena. The girl was delighted. Uncle Lyosha has told me so much about you. He said he had the most wonderful wife in the world. Do you know where he might be? I'm already really worried. Elena invited Anna into the apartment and started calling Alexei. The device was unavailable. She contacted his office and was informed that he had gone to the train station to meet a relative and should have returned a long time ago. An ambulance arrived an hour and a half later. Alexei got into a traffic accident on his way to the train station. Fortunately, there was nothing critical. A slight concussion and a few bruises, but the phone was broken and he couldn't contact anyone. Awareness. In the hospital sitting by his bed, Elena felt her whole picture of reality crumble to dust. There was no cheating. Alexei really travelled a lot for work. The implementation of a major project that requires constant travel has begun. The new clothes were associated with career growth and the need to look good in front of partners. And the increased attention to the phone was explained simply. He was preparing a surprise for their wedding anniversary and coordinated the details with the organizers. Anna said that the meeting at the mall was planned. She came to Moscow a month ago on student business, and her uncle took her sightseeing. They really walked arm in arm, because it's easy to get lost in a crowded place, and Anna didn't know her way around an unfamiliar city. Svetlana saw us that day, Elena realized, feeling her world changing dramatically. That night, while Alexei was sleeping under the influence of medication, Elena sat in a hospital chair and reflected on her actions. He hadn't cheated on her? Never. And she? The memory of that night with Mikhail disgusted her. Not to him, he was a decent man who found himself in a similar situation. Self-loathing for betrayal. Alexei woke up at dawn and smiled at her. "Hello, dear. I'm sorry I scared you. How is Anya?" "It's okay," she replied, fighting back tears. "She's staying at the dorm, and she's leaving the day after tomorrow. It's a pity that things turned out this way." He sighed. "I wanted to introduce you properly. She's such a smart girl. She's studying medicine, and I also wanted to consult her about a gift for you. She's about your height. I thought she'd help you choose a nice dress." His every word pierced Elena's heart. He was planning a gift for her. "I wanted to introduce you to my niece. Loved her." And the next day, the friends visited Alexei in the hospital. Svetlana turned pale when she saw Anna. "That's the girl," she whispered to Elena. "The one I saw your husband with?" "That's his niece," Elena replied coldly. Irina tried to say something in justification, but Elena stopped her. "No need. You did what you thought was right. It's all my fault." Confession. After Alexei's discharge, life returned to normal, but Elena felt like a completely different person. The mystery was gnawing at her from the inside. Every day with her husband turned into a torment. He was gentle and caring as before, and she felt like a liar and a traitor. For a month she agonized, trying to find a way to tell him the truth. Every time she worked up the courage, something got in her way. One minute he was coming home from work exhausted, the next he was planning something pleasant for the weekend, the next he was just laughing at a comedy on TV, and she couldn't raise her hand to ruin his good mood. But the silence was becoming unbearable. On Saturday morning, when they were having breakfast in the kitchen, Elena decided, "Lyosha, I need to tell you something." He put down the newspaper and looked at it carefully. "I'm listening." I did something terrible. When you were on a business trip, She couldn't continue. Tears began to flow. Alexei got up and walked over to her. "What's wrong, Lena? What do you want to talk about?" "I cheated on you." She gasped. "I thought it was you." "That you have someone else. Your friends saw you with Anya, and I thought..." "Forgive me, Lyosha. Sorry." He froze in place and the silence became deafening. Then he slowly walked away from her and sank into his chair. "Tell me," he said softly. Elena told me everything. About her friend's suspicions, about her doubts, about that night at the bar. Alexei listened in silence, his face as impenetrable as a stone. When she finished, he was silent for a long time. Then he asked, "And then what?" "I don't know," she said honestly. "I do not know how to live with this, how to look you in the eye. You've never cheated on me, but I have." "And you trusted strangers more than you trusted your own husband," he finished. "They're not outsiders. These are my close friends. The friends who destroyed our family? They didn't destroy it. I myself. I made that choice myself." Alexei got up and went to the window. 8 years, Elena. For 8 years I've been showing you my love every day, and it all turned out to mean nothing. One suspicion was enough for you to leave for another. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake. A mistake is when you confuse salt with sugar. He turned to her. "And this is treason." She saw such pain in his eyes that she squeezed her eyes shut. "Can you forgive me?" "What is it?" she whispered. "I don't know," he replied. "I honestly don't know. The price of error." He left the house on the same day. He said he needed time to think. I packed a suitcase with the most necessary things and went to my parents. 4 days have passed since then. Elena was sitting at home, restless. She tried to do the usual things, read, watch TV shows, clean up, but nothing helped to distract herself. Her thoughts were constantly revolving around one thing. She had lost the most precious thing in her life because of her own stupidity and distrust. Her friends tried to support her. Irina claimed that circumstances were to blame. Svetlana apologized for her mistake. Katya offered to have fun, go somewhere. But Elena understood that her friendship with them had also come to an end. Their words sowed a seed of doubt, but she made the final decision herself. And it would be unfair to blame them. On Wednesday evening, Alexei called. His voice sounded tired. "Hello? How are you?" "It's terrible," she answered honestly. "And you?" "It's not easy either. Listen, let's see each other. We need to talk." They met in the same cafe where a month ago her friends told her about the alleged betrayal. Alexei looked haggard, as if he had aged a few years. Elena knew that she didn't look any better herself. "I've been thinking for a long time," he began, "about us, about what happened, and I came to one conclusion." Elena's heart skipped a beat. "You're right. Some of the blame lies with me. I started working too much, traveling all the time, and spending less time at home. Maybe you felt abandoned, and that's why—" "No," she stopped him. "Don't make excuses for me. You were a wonderful husband. I was a complete fool. We were both fools." He smiled sadly. Because I didn't understand how you suffer from suspicion. You're here because you haven't spoken openly to me." "What's going to happen to us now?" Alexei stared out the window for a long time. "I don't know. I still love you. But I don't know if I can forgive you. I don't know if I can trust you again." "And if we try?" she offered timidly. "Maybe we should consult a family psychologist?" "Maybe." He nodded. "Not right now. I still need time." They parted with a fragile hope. Elena understood that the road to forgiveness would be long and painful. They may not be able to restore their previous relationship, but maybe they will be able to create something new on the wreckage of the old one. In the evening, she sat at home and thought about how one wrong decision could radically change fate, about how important trust is in the family, and that some mistakes cannot be fixed. You can only try to learn how to live with them. It was drizzling outside again, but now it didn't seem so hopeless. Somewhere in another part of the city, Alexei was also looking at the rain and thinking about their common future. And maybe they still had a chance to find their way to each other. But that would be a completely different story. A story about learning to trust and love again.